So some things I've learned in 2020. This video, let me just warn you, is not like super well thought out, but it's stuff that I've kind of like realized and that I kind of want to talk about. I don't have any notes or anything saved, so yeah, just gonna kind of go with it. And I'm also going to feature my pet bearded dragon. See him there. So I'm just gonna like feed him while I'm talking through some of this, just because sometimes I think watching someone just sit there and talk is kind of boring, and watching him eat will be a lot more interesting, and you can listen to me kind of in the background. Okay, so one thing that I learned in 2020, actually, I saw this quote on Instagram, and it's just so true, is that basically, I think the quote said, "I am not responsible for the idea of me that you created in your head." And that just really struck a chord with me, because a lot of times people will say stuff like, "Oh, you changed," which it's completely possible people change. I mean, people should really like grow and learn as they get older and, you know, experience different things. However, I think a lot of times when people say that, they're saying it like it's a bad thing. They're saying it like, I thought you were different, or you used to be different. And a lot of times it doesn't really mean that you used to be different. A lot of times it means that people had this idea of you in their head for whatever reason, maybe for like, you know, your past experience, or they believed things about you that they wanted to believe just because it made them feel comfortable. These are worms. I don't know if you can really see them. And I just think that is just such a good point, that sometimes you work up this idea of somebody in your head, even if it's someone that you've known very well, or maybe someone that you don't know very well, and then kind of you meet them in real life, or you haven't talked to them for a while, and it seems like they're different. And different doesn't always mean bad. It just means that this idea that you had kept in your head, or this idea that you created in your head of how you believed the person would still be, or this idea you created in your head as to how you expect the person to react in certain ways, isn't the same as the way that they actually reacted. I don't know if I'm making any sense here. But basically what I'm trying to say is people create ideas of other people in their head. We all do it. It's natural. It happens a lot with like celebrities. And then a lot of times when people meet their favorite celebrity, they're really disappointed in how that celebrity acts, because they created this idea of the celebrity in their head based off of interviews or their songs or their acting, and then they meet the person and the person isn't at all like what they expected them to be. And that happens with real people too, even people that you know or you've known a while, because it's natural for people to learn and grow and change. And so I think my number one lesson of 2020, you'll get to eating in a second, don't worry. So I think that my number one lesson of 2020 is that other people aren't responsible for the idea of who you made them out to be in your head. Just because you thought someone would act a certain way or should act a certain way doesn't mean that the individual is responsible for acting a certain way like you think they should. I hope this all makes sense. I'm just kind of talking a stream of consciousness, but that's something that just really resonates with me this year. I promise I'll go back and show you when he starts eating, but my lizard literally has like performance anxiety, I swear. And he won't eat if I'm just sitting there watching him. So I'll have to wait till he does it and then I can record real quick. But anyway, I hope that all made sense. And then something else that kind of goes along with that is that you're not responsible for other people's happiness. And this might seem super obvious, but it's just something that I struggled with for a really long time, and I'm going to continue to struggle with. And just that you are responsible for your own happiness And the things that bring you joy and meaning might not be the same things that bring joy and meaning to other people. And it's not your job to do the things that make other people happy if it doesn't help you. I know that might not make a ton of sense, and it makes sense in my head, and sometimes, you know, when things make sense in your head, but then you have to like articulate it and it doesn't come out the same way it is in your head, if that makes sense. But just do you, do what makes you happy, do what's best for you, and everything else will fall into place. I don't really want to talk about like political commentary too much or social commentary too much, but I mean, if you follow me on TikTok, it's kind of pretty obvious where I stand on a lot of things, but I will say that my opinions have changed drastically from January 2020 to December 2020. And a lot of it is just because, and it's not because I like watch the news or anything. I don't actually watch the news. Sometimes I like read articles. If I'll like Google a topic, like I'll Google COVID and then I'll read like a bunch of the articles that come up. And so I don't just read like one specific news station. But anyway, a lot of things that I used to think, I don't necessarily think anymore. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I think that like all Americans, I was raised like pretty nationalistic and that, you know, America first, etc., etc. And I don't really think that anymore. And it's not that I don't like my country. It's that I think my country could be a lot better. And I think that people should criticize their country because literally nothing is perfect. And I think that, you know, America deserves its fair share of criticism. And as far as America first, I will say that I like to try to purchase items that are made in the United States. And actually, no, I don't necessarily do that. I like to purchase items that are made ethically. And so when I say I would like to buy something that's American made or made ethically, I don't mean it in a nationalistic way. I mean it in a, I don't want the workers who made my clothes to have been exploited kind of way. And yes, American workers are exploited too, but that's not the point I'm trying to make. I'm just trying to make the point that I like sourcing from ethical companies, whether they're in the United States or not. And I don't think you should buy American. Well, for me, I don't think I should buy American just to buy American, just so that it says made in America on it. I do it for different reasons. Another 2020 lesson is that you should care about other people. And I don't know how to make people care about other people. I think it's just kind of a realization that you have to have. And I feel like I've always cared about other people, but I definitely care about other people more. And I don't think that it's cool to care about people in your country before caring about people in other countries. Just because I am of the mindset that, and actually, like, it's literal fact that country borders are literally just like made up lines. Like, literally back in the day, people just made up lines. The Pope, back when Columbus was trying to claim certain lands, and Vasco da Gama, and the Pope at the time was like, meh, meh. Okay, you have that land, you have that land. Literally, they're made, country borders are made up lines. And so, and honestly, money is made up. American money is not backed by gold. It's literally a concept. Money is a concept. It's like not a thing. And of course, like, everyone wants to live comfortable and all that stuff. But when people complain about giving money to other countries, first of all, money is a concept. And second of all, other countries is also a concept. Borders are concepts. And I don't want to be, I hope that's not controversial. I mean, I know that's controversial, but I feel like it shouldn't be controversial. I feel like, I believe that, you know, we are all one. And if you complain about giving money to another country before giving money to your own country, it's kind of, it's really like this weird nationalistic thing. And I agree, I don't want to get too deep into it, but basically, we are all one, and I don't understand why people are so offended by someone in another country getting a little bit of money before, like, someone, before your neighbor because your neighbor in all reality is better off than that person who literally has to drink cholera in their water. And then, you know, COVID and caring about other people and believing science. But that is a whole nother topic for a more controversial video at a more controversial time. Not a more controversial time, at another time. So yeah, those are my lessons for 2020. Be yourself, love other people, don't reserve your love for certain people or certain countries. That's weird. And enjoy your new year.